On the eve of a World Cup year, the Vancouver Whitecaps made Canada dream big, but at the end of it all, it is Lionel Messi and Inter Miami who win their first ever MLS Cup. Camila Gonzalez here, joined alongside Kilbane. Kev, what an exciting MLS Cup final that was. We're going to take you through each step of the way that got Lionel Messi to lift his 47th cup. Now, first off, 1-0, a bit of a mistake from Ocampo. Take us through that moment that kind of defined the rest of the match for the Whitecaps.
Well, it was probably more of the first half, Camila, in all honesty, because I don't feel as though that the Whitecaps settled too well into the game. It was quite nervy, I think, the start in the way in which they made it. And this probably amplified that, the way that it did start for them. Good play by Lionel Messi outside. And once the ball's played over the top, Ocampo tracking his runner, Tristan Blackman stepping forward to play everybody onside Ocampo. And it was errors all round, really. But that, as I said, it maybe showed how poor the Whitecaps were throughout the first half. They never, certainly for the first 30 minutes, he never got going. And then Ocampo, in trying to rectify the mistake, gets back and then diverts the cross to his own goal. So it was a bad mistake all round, but it almost got them into gear a little bit, really, after that. And that's how it went for them.
Absolutely. An unfortunate moment there, but the man who seemed to save the match was Ali Ahmed.
Yeah.
He gets his first goal in league play. Not a pretty goal, but it was exactly what the Whitecaps needed. No,
it wasn't a pretty goal. It's probably right. It was so well worked. That's the way that you would look at it. Emmanuel Sabbi involved, Brian White involved. Brian White had little involvement really in the game, but I think at the start of the second half, as I said, maybe the Whitecaps finished the half quite strong, the last 5 or 10 minutes in the first half, and they took that forward into the second. Great play by Sabbi, finding Brian White. Brian White freeing up Ali Ahmed. Poor error by the goalkeeper, Rios Nova. Should be saving that, but the Whitecaps at that stage, you felt, were in the ascendancy. They were the side that were going to go on and win the game. And I felt that at that stage. Ali Ahmed, I mean, the way that he was maybe playing in the half, he was substituted not long after this. I kind of changed the game, to be honest with you, Camila. That's the way that I felt with it.
Absolutely. I mean, that was the moment that had the Whitecaps fans excited. Yeah. We could all feel like the second goal was going to come.
Yeah.
But then a frustrating moment that happens. And, you know, Lionel Messi wins the MLS Cup MVP. I think the real MVP is the Miami goalpost. Because that was exactly what saved Miami from going down by 1.
Yeah, these will be the pictures that will probably go around the world, just showing how close it is for success and failure in our game. And I think this maybe showed it again. Emmanuel Sabbi, who, as I said, he actually was out of the game for long spells in the first half, but he came to life in the second half. So well here to beat his guy, get himself into the penalty area, and then the strike off the post, hitting both posts. He then reacts, gets back to it, and he hits the post again. It was an incredible moment in the game. And as I was saying, this moment came, it was to put the Whitecaps 2-1 up. It felt to us, didn't it, Camila, watching that the Whitecaps were going to go on and win this game because of how they were playing and the pace they were playing at. And it just looked to me everything was set up for them in that second half to go on and do it. And that's ultimately maybe their only big chance of the half. They couldn't really create too much more after that.
Well, and to think that wasn't the only miss that Sabbi had. He also had that great chance off of Muller's header.
Yes.
It just was not in the cards for Vancouver, but it was in the cards for Lionel Messi to come out in that second half and get Miami 2 goals.
Yeah, well, he had little involvement in the game, Lionel Messi, and we've said constantly about Messi only needs one moment to turn a game, and the first goal in setting up Rodrigo de Paul, he dispossesses Andreas Cubas, who was outstanding. He's had an outstanding season, and you feel sorry for Cubas to give the ball away in that key moment, but when you give the ball away to Messi, his weight of pass is always perfect. He weights the pass perfectly. The run is well timed by Rodrigo de Paul, and he puts it beyond Takayoko in goal just so well. The second goal, or the second assist from Messi, was simply world-class, Camila. I was purring watching that. I was up off my seat because to see him do that, it looks very easy. He makes it look easy the way that he does it, but the touch, the control, and then the weight of pass, just to flip it over Pupe's head into the on-running Allende, that was game over at that stage. But Lionel Messi dictated the outcome of this game again, and as he invariably does. I think it's 104 goals and assists now in 64 MLS appearances. His record is phenomenal since he's arrived in the MLS.
Absolutely spectacular to witness Lionel Messi leading Inter Miami to their first ever MLS Cup final. You can't help but feel for the Whitecaps, who have had a record-breaking season. Let's head back to Chase Stadium, where Farhan Lalji joins us with Vancouver head coach Jesper Sorenson.
Jesper, a lot of emotions, I'm sure. What are your initial thoughts on just the way this game played out?
Yeah, obviously not a good start. They got a break early, a little bit stupid situation. I think we gained control and we moved the ball well without being so much too dangerous in before the first 30 minutes. But then we took over and the 1-1. We had a good feeling. I thought that we would break them, and we almost did. But you know, these games they're decided in a few moments. Yeah, we made a couple of mistakes. We paid dearly for them, but they also have players who can take advantage of those mistakes. And you know, that's football. And after the 2-1, we lost the momentum a little bit. They gained a little bit of confidence. But we had the one for Sabi on the post to give us a lead. But you know, that's it. That's how football plays out. Sometimes it's small moment. It's just moments in a game like this that's decisive. And they had a player who took advantage also a couple of times.
Yeah, from about midway through the first half until they got their second goal, it felt like you dominated big stretches of the game. Did you feel like you deserved a little bit better in those moments?
Yeah, but we had anticipated that we would dominate, right? So because you know, the way we play and we just. Needed that little break, and I thought that we would have it after the 1-1 especially, and yeah, then we messed up. We had a good situation. We won the ball back easily, and we were a little bit out of position, but we won the ball back, and then they took it, and then they went directly, and yeah, then we were. They got confident, and we didn't play it that well after the 2-1.
Yeah, you mentioned those moments, and you mentioned they've got some players who can take advantage. We're obviously talking about Messi.
Yeah.
You guys did some great things on him to keep him quiet, but he doesn't need much. Those 2 moments, he was able to be the difference maker.
Yeah, of course, in the end with the 3-1, we opened up, and you know, we had to go for it. We changed our structure a little bit, didn't help us that much, but you know, and when you have an open pitch, and then he sees things before everybody else, and then he had seen his guy run in the backspace, and they also stroke the 3 times well. They didn't have that many chances, but the ones they had, they took well.
Last thing I'll ask you is just, what does this group mean to you? I mean, this was a special run by a special group of players.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. I think you know, the players, we are not dreaming. We are working hard every time and every day, and this group has been so amazing to work with. All the players, all the staff around it, and you know what? Today we cry, and but it will be proud tears, and we'll wipe them away, and we'll come back.
Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Jesper Sorenson, the man who made Vancouver dream big, alongside Thomas Muller, who also revitalized the squad. It really was a season to remember, despite a heartbreaking end. What does this mean for the Whitecaps? What does this mean for the city? And of course, for the country ahead of a World Cup to see the Whitecaps come this far? Yeah,
I think it's, especially with the World Cup just coming on the horizon, I think that's nice that the Whitecaps have actually hit an MLS Cup. This has been building for the last few years of the Whitecaps. The way that the whole structure and the roster has been built, it's been towards these moments, and you've got to congratulate the Whitecaps, the management team, of course the coaching staff and the players for what they have done over the last few years, because we felt in the last couple of years that maybe they could have been a little bit better and really challenged deep into the playoffs. This was the season to get to a CONCACAF Champions Cup final. The way that went for them, it was very unlucky. They had illness around the game. To win another Canadian championship from their point of view and then get to an MLS Cup final, in which they actually played very well across the game as well. What a season it has been for the Whitecaps. And as I said, I congratulate them for everything they've achieved this season.
I completely agree with that. A side that has dealt with injuries, that have had tough calls against them, that have dealt with doubters, people that did not even think they would make the playoffs, and they're able to make it to the MLS Cup final. What a season for them. But at the end of the day, it is Lionel Messi and Inter Miami who win the MLS Cup.